Hey everyone, this is Neil,
And this is David.
and we are not film critics. This episode is about the new Justice League movie. What do you think of it, David?
I think the best word is it's a lot. It's it's 4 hours, and sitting through it feels like like you just accomplished something, and it's like Jesus Christ, finally, thank God, it's over. Not in a bad way, but like you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. 4 hours, I mean, that's like what, a third of your day? Because you're awake like what, 12 hours a day, and you watch a movie for 4 hours. Not to say that it's bad, but I think they could have cut it down a little bit.
100%. This is a movie that did not need to be 4 hours. Like the whole thing is that it's Zack Snyder's unadulterated vision. He's like it's like nothing was altered at all. When I realized, oh wow, maybe some other people should have been like called on this because sure, one person can create a movie, but they probably shouldn't. Because then it's like sometimes you feel like, oh, okay, yeah, now he's just gonna go stroke his own ego. Okay, yeah. Like we get it, you can do this, but like it didn't need to be that long.
Yeah, but not to say that it's a bad movie. Personally, I
No,
think
no.
it's good. It's a whole lot better than the first one or the original one. But I feel like sometimes throughout the movie it drags a lot, not a little bit, a lot. And yeah, it's again, you cut it down to like 3 hours, 2.5, but it didn't have to be 4 hours long.
I think before we talk about the Snyder Cut, we have to give a little like we have to voice our opinion on the original cut of the movie because you can't really talk about the Snyder Cut without talking about the original Joss Whedon version.
Right,
So what did you think of the original Joss Whedon version?
I thought it was rushed.
It was rushed.
Yeah, in the Snyder cut, it dug deeper into different characters, but that's something that the original Justice movie failed to do. I felt like they just wanted to show the epic scenes with the fights and Wonder Woman with the saving the children, and the Snyder Cut had that too, right? But I think that's what the original Justice League focused on rather than the actual story. That's what made it so uninteresting, and overall it was disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Um, I was like when this movie came out, I was not young per se, but it was 2017. Every movie I saw in theaters, I pretty much loved. I didn't have much ability to discern critically at the time, and I don't have much more now. But whatever. And I was really hyped for it, right? Like I literally in like the day before I saw it, I wrote in my journal at the time, oh yeah, this is gonna be the best movie of all time, right? Like this is gonna be the top movie of the year, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh no.
It was not.
Because it was just like it was such a letdown, and it didn't even feel like a movie. It felt like like three movies, and it felt like I know like halfway through Joss Whedon like stepped in to direct the other half, like not other half, but to fix up the movie, and then
Yeah,
do
finished
mass
it off.
reshoots. But it felt like two movies trying to desperately be two different things, and it didn't help that the movie was just horribly bad. You know?
Yeah, I guess that's probably why a lot of people, and most particularly those who follow DC or read DC comics, they wanted just a Snyder cut so that we just everybody sees what Zack Snyder does, not what Zack Snyder and the other director does. But I'm not gonna say I'm disappointed with the new Snyder cut, but it's a lot, but it's a lot. That's like definitely something that that's pulling it down for me. But I like the action, the story. I like how they dug deeper into some characters, more particularly with Superman and Lois and
Cyborg.
Yeah, Cyborg. That's something I like. But another thing that I don't like about the movie was like the dialogue. It felt a little weird, especially in the beginning of the movie with Batman, right? He'd say so much cheesy stuff, and it just feels out of place.
Yeah, I definitely understand that feeling when like watching like comic because a lot of comic movies can have cheesy dialogue. It's kind of like it's kind of like not a staple because a lot of comic movies can like have no cheesy dialogue, but a lot because when you're taking these like these characters so seriously, when it's literally just a guy that dressed up like a bat, a dude that can fly, you're gonna have some cheesy dialogue places. And personally, you said you felt more development for Lois and Superman. I honestly like didn't feel that. I felt like they gave it too much screen time. I'm like, no, this is unnecessary. I don't need this. It didn't add anything. It didn't like make the relationship any better because they already had like two whole movies to develop that, and it was just bad in those movies. Like I never felt any connection between those two in Man of Steel or in Batman v Superman. And then in Justice League, it feels like they're trying to like they're trying to what's the word
Reconnect.
something a dead horse.
Oh,
Pardon?
reconnect.
I don't know. Yeah, they're trying to reconnect like the movie, like they're trying to like reconnect their like relationship, but it's just not working because no, I didn't care. I just didn't care. It didn't. It just wasn't. I don't know. I wish they just had left it out. It didn't. It wasn't emotionally resonant. You know. I felt like it was past its prime.
Okay, what do you feel about Cyborg though? That because that was something I really
Cyborg.
liked. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely most improved character because like in the like in the original cut of the movie, he was kind of just there. He was okay. He was there. He exists. He exists because he was mainly a plot device in the first movie, not in the first movie, in like the first cut of the movie. But in the second movie, he has more of like an emotional emotional through line throughout the movie, and more of a character arc. Being kind of from like hiding out in the shadows, to, actually coming out and in the end, like spoilers, but whatever. His dad dies. Trying to stop Steppenwolf, and I thought that was a really important moment for his character. And it kind of sucks that it was left out of the original cut of the movie. You know, I didn't see the reason they had to leave that out. It was kind of a disappointment. Because I bet if his dad died in the original cut of the movie, I would have been way more sympathetic to his character, as well as his character would have made way more sense. And his arc would have made more sense. But in the Snyder cut, you see, oh, that's what they were trying to do, instead of kind of being confused. So Cyborg definitely gets most improved character.
Yeah, and another character is the Flash. He definitely played a more significant role than the first cut. In the first cut, he was just pushing and helping everyone, but now, no, not now, but like the Snyder cut, throughout the end of the movie, it was if it wasn't for him, they might have lost, right? If it wasn't for him traveling back in time, I thought that was something very cool because the Flash, he's probably one of the more loved characters, comic characters, and one of the more loved abilities that he has is time traveling, his ability to travel in time, and that's something that they utilized in the film to make it better than the first cut.
Yeah. I actually like that was probably my favorite scene of the movie
Yeah, same here.
because it's like I really like cool things and cool premises in movies, and that was probably like the best thing that happened the whole movie because for most of the movie I was expecting like because personally like so far through like the first maybe third maybe like the first not until that scene especially but until like the ending part for the first like two maybe almost even 2.5 hours of the movie I was like this is basically the same movie. Sure, there's some more scenes, but like it wasn't that significant. But then when you got to like the end and you saw all the character arcs wrap up and everything like that, and you got to that scene with the Flash, there's like, oh, this is why they needed this. And that I really loved. I really loved the scene where he went back in time. I love the visuals, the whole like of him like stepping and then the ground reforms under him. It was really impressive. And the only thing that I could kind of nitpick with that scene would probably be his dialogue was a bit off. Like I didn't really get what he was like sure, I would have preferred him to maybe like try to like stay silent because I don't know.
I guess they used
Stay
him as
silent.
a comedic relief. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes
Yeah,
it's out of place.
yeah, it can definitely be out of place, especially in such like a movie that takes itself very seriously.
Yeah. Speaking of being taken seriously, Batman, right? He's in the comics or any other show or any other movie, he's a very serious man. He's super serious. Everybody knows how like he's about the business. And then
Yeah,
comes in Snyder Cut. He probably says like three of the cheesiest things in the movie. I remember there was
yeah,
that one scene I just cringed. I just cringed so hard. it was like I think they were trying to debate if they were gonna bring back Superman, right? And then he was like, there is no us without him, and I just cringed because if you read comics or if you watch other Batman movies, he's very, he's individual, he's independent, right? And then for him to say that, I was like, that's different, bro.
I'm not so much opposed as Batman being made a team player because Batman, like, he is a very individual character, but he can also be a team player. You know, he is also willing to work with others, right? My problem with the Batman movie is that, like, he's not, he's not doing much for most of the movie. Like, what does he do? Like, through most of the movie, he assembles them, and then they kind of just do their own thing for most of the movie. And he kind of just stands around, and I was really looking forward to Batman doing a lot in this movie because, you know, in Batman v Superman, he was kind of the best part of that movie. You know, he was really cool, even though, you know, he did kill, which that's a whole other issue I'm not even gonna get into. But he was at least like interesting in that movie. You know, he was at least a good part of that movie, which was mostly trash. Um, and in this movie, he kind of just stands around and doesn't do much. Like in the scene where they're all fighting and everything, and Flash is charging up outside, and Cyborg is like trying to separate the cubes, and Superman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman are all fighting. Batman's just kind of standing around, just kind of like taking out the little guy, and I'm like, Batman is better than this. Batman is better than this, you know. Not to say you could fight Steppenwolf head on, but he feels like he should be a more central part of the story. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, because Batman, he's the character that gives the oomph. He gives the And in the Snyder cut, I also felt like he was put to the side a little bit alongside Aquaman, but I don't mind Aquaman being put to the side a little bit because he has his own movie, he has his he already made like a good amount of money from his independent movie. But Batman, he's no matter how many movies of Batman there is of just being Batman, he's definitely a character that can make an impact to the story, or not even just to the story, but an impact to how you watch the film.
I feel like probably this is one of the good things about Joss Whedon's cut, even though there's like not many good things about his cut. Is Batman's he feels like a much more central character in his cut because he like a lot of the plot is structured around what Batman does. You know, because
Exactly.
Batman does this, and I don't know. I feel like Batman is better handled in Joss Whedon's cut because there's a scene, and I think Joss Whedon's cut where between what is it, Wonder Woman and Batman, where Batman kind of says like, Superman is, like he kind of like not lectures but like tells Wonder Woman, Superman is like first and foremost a human, and he's like the heart and soul of the team, and without him, there's not like, the team isn't really whole, and I feel like that's a much better explanation of like Superman's role in the team than there is no him without, like, there is no us without him, It's kind of a simple, kind of cheesy line, you know?
Yeah, and he obviously, if you do it right, if you write it properly, you can make Batman, like as you said, have very impactful dialogue just by saying, because he's Batman as a character, he's very smart, right? He knows weaknesses and he knows how to exploit those weaknesses. And maybe if there were if it were Batman's idea, you see how Cyborg had the idea of getting into the mother box. Maybe if it were Batman's idea, it would have been. I'm not saying Cyborg is not a good character, but Batman is a whole lot cooler than Cyborg is. It probably would have been more hype if he had that idea. But in the end, it was him trying to stop Cyborg because he was gonna die, you know, or he could have died, not Batman, Cyborg. And again, he was just put to the side alongside Aquaman and Wonder Woman. But then I don't mind those other two characters being put to the side because they have their own movies by themselves, and I don't think they could impact the movie as big as Batman would.
Like, no one's going to like the Just League movie for, Wonder Woman, or for like, like, not to say that people don't do that, but people do that. I'm just saying, like, Batman is a big draw because Batman's one of the most famous comic book characters of all time.
Exactly.
And in your Just League movie, making him like a non-factor is kind of, not a great decision. Not a great decision.
Yeah, and Batman and Superman. So if you have those two characters, that's the money ball right there. You don't need anyone else. And it's again, it's a good movie. It's definitely better than the first one, but I feel sometimes it drags, and I also feel sometimes the dialogue is so out of place at times. But I did like how they incorporated uh what was the big bad name?
Dark Side, Steppenwolf, which one?
Yes, Dark Side.
Oh
Dark
yeah,
Side. Yes, I like how because I think that sets the franchise of DCEU up for many more movies, if they want to, because they've incorporated Dark Side early into their history, and again that brings like the excitement for the fans, because they want to see Dark Side, they want to see big bads.
yeah, definitely. The ending of the movie definitely gives more forward momentum to the franchise than the ending of Justice League did. Because the end of Justice League is like, look at this empty room with all these chairs, and then that's it, you know. But in the ending of the Snyder cut, it's like, oh, okay, now Darkseid's coming. We gotta prepare for Darkseid. Oh wow, he's coming, you know. And then there's much more like impact to the ending, and you feel excited to watch the next movie. Well, the end of Justice League kind of just like fades out, and it's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, it was. I think they try to make it family friendly,
Yeah,
if that makes sense. But that's a problem because DC is not really family friendly.
I mean, personally, I think whatever DC's, you can do whatever you want with DC's characters. Like Batman isn't strictly like a dark, gritty
No, no.
character. Superman isn't essentially like what we saw in Man of Steel, where he's this boring person who's basically like just kind of like sits around. You know, they can be like fun and interesting characters, and they can be like just as like lighthearted as Marvel's characters if they want. I think it's all about what they were going for, because personally, I prefer this better approach that DC has like now, where they're kind of just letting each director do their own thing. They're letting like they're trying to make it be true to the characters rather than trying to keep a consistent tone between each of the movies. And I think that's a better alternative, because a lot of Marvel movies like they keep a similar tone, but they're often they can feel formulaic, and I think that's a big problem with them. But like DC movies, when you go from one to the other, I think if you go from like Justice League to like Wonder Woman to like Shazam to Aquaman, you never get the feeling of, oh, okay, this is the same thing over and over again. You know, you kind of get, oh, okay, this is interesting and new. This is fresh and new, and especially with the new Batman movie coming out with Robert Pattinson, which, full stop, I am super
Oh
excited
yeah,
for.
that was
You know,
exciting. Yes.
that looks like an interesting take, and I think there should be more interesting takes on characters that I don't know, they should be more unique. You know, but while staying like true to the core of the character.
Again, I guess that's something that they have to fix up in their, or they're trying to. It looks like they are trying to, and trying to get DCEU back on track. But let's focus on the Snyder Cut right now. So we've already talked about the stories. We've talked about how we liked and we disliked some of the characters. What did you think about the visuals?
The visuals of the movie, they were definitely interesting. I like, because the reason it's in like the square is because it was originally shot in IMAX, and like because IMAX shoots in a square basically because they're trying to surround you with the movie, and I'm fine with that. Whatever. I basically forgot about it like halfway through the movie, but the visual of the movie they were mostly fine. They were mostly consistent with like the other thing, like except for like the odd, like the rare visual like extra cut or something, or the rare like slight color adjustment where it's like it's kind of weird because like there's that shot with Wonder Woman like on that tower or something, like the Justice Towers. I can't remember what the
Yeah.
yeah, the Lady Liberty, not Lady Liberty. Oh god,
Right. Yeah. It was
you know what I'm
Lady
talking about,
Liberty.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like slightly color graded gray, and I'm like, okay, like most of it doesn't make a difference. The one thing that impacted me the most about like the changes to the movie was the action, because it stands out right away, the action in the movie, because in the first scene in the original Justice League cut, you can tell that like not like Wonder Woman is not like straight up killing dudes. The action is much more fluid. It's like brighter, if that makes any sense. Like it has more contrast. But in the Snyder cut, it's way quicker. It's way bloodier, and like it honestly, okay, like hot take incoming. It looks silly in the Snyder cut. I way prefer action of the old of the Joss Whedon cut rather than the Snyder cut because it looks silly. Like sure, like she's throwing dudes all over the place and we're like, whoa, that's sick, but it looks silly. It doesn't look like that's not something Wonder Woman would do. I don't need to see blood in my movies to know it's adult.
Yeah, yeah. And I think part of the reason why the movie got way too long, in my opinion, is I think they have way too much establishing shots.
They're just like establishing shot.
Yeah, dude, I kid you not. Right in the beginning of the movie, I think it was like part one or before part one. It was Batman, right? And then he was in the mountain. They showed that mountain. They had like 3 different shots, I think, of the establishing shot. It was like a whole 5 minutes long, dude. It didn't have to be that long. They could have had cut down because obviously because Batman had a monologue there, but again they could have cut that down a little bit and then or instead of having it just being an establishing shot, they could have just had like the camera pan out into Batman while he's on the horse, and then another part was with the Wonder Woman, right? I think it was the Lady Liberty, and that whole scene, that whole part took like 10 seconds for the camera to get from the bottom of the building up to her. That took way too long.
It feels like it drags in places, and I think that's the reason you can say this movie confidently could have been under 3 hours. Like I can name like, okay, you can take out that scene with Flash and like Iris West. That's just weirdly creepy for some reason. You can take out that scene with Lois and Clark at the farm, the when they go inside the house and stuff. You can take out that you can take out the other scene with
Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, you can take out that scene. I don't know why that's there. Like unless it's just fan service. And I'm not a that kind of fan service isn't really earned when these movies have only been out for like 3 seconds. It's not earned. You wanna like indulge in some fan service when you've already built like a good reputation of stories. But DC hasn't done that, so I don't think they can indulge in that kind of fan service where it's like, oh look, it's Martian Manhunter, guys. It's like okay, I don't care.
But one of the upsides of the movie though is the scores. I really love the scores throughout the movie. I love how they used music and sound to create the feeling of tension, and when what's her name, the Amazonians and Wonder Woman come into screen, or they had like a special moment. I loved how the score transitioned from a totally different type of music into I think it was throat singing. I think that's what it's called. That's something I really like. That's something that everyone should incorporate in their movies more, especially if you're trying to get into like a dramatic feeling or a tense feeling in your story.
I mean, I liked it, but it doesn't sound like I'm as big as a fan of it as you were. And like, yeah, sure, it's neat. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like oh my god, it's like I don't know. It's fine, whatever.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for good scores.
I mean, I'm not like really a music person. Like if the music is good, it's good, and if the music is bad, it's bad. Like I'm not really someone that can go in depth on like the scores of movies and how they impact like blah 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 blah. I'm just kind of person. Oh, the music, it slaps.
Yeah, but it's different though. It's different in the film because you're telling a story and the movie and no, sorry, the music can like give like a different feeling. If you like watch like older films and like the black and white one, a lot of them had like the piano sounds, like the dun dun dun, like you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that created like it sets up the atmosphere of the scene or even the movie.
Definitely.
All right, so last question, David. Who was your favorite character?
Favorite character? I don't know. That's tough because a lot of characters. There's so many characters, and are you like basing it just off in this movie or in general of what they've done?
Okay, hold on. Just this movie.
Just this movie. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Cyborg. I really liked him.
Yeah.
I really liked him.
Exactly. Yeah, compared to the first movie, he has more impact. Okay, the last question. who's your least favorite character?
Least favorite is probably Superman.
Oh, why is that?
Oh god, this can go into a whole rant. But basically, Zack Snyder doesn't really understand Superman, and he doesn't really get that his whole thing is like he's kind of like a normal human being and not like a god amongst men. He's supposed to be just a normal guy with superpowers, not like a god amongst men who thinks of humans as kind of below him. But that's kind of his whole character in these movies. But whatever. I'm just not a fan of how Zack Snyder does.
Wait,
Superman.
now hold on though.
Oh god.
That's how they do it. Like that's how they do it in the comics. That's how.
No.
Yes,
No,
yes. They put him in like the toppest tier of the most like powerful superheroes.
No, but the thing is, in the comics, the reason people do it in the comics now is because they saw Man of Steel thing and was like, oh wait, Man of Steel is making money, we gotta do it now. And then there's this parasitic cycle where like the movies feed into the comics they inspire the movies. And if you actually look at good Superman comics, none of them are like him being like, oh, I am above humans and I am so like such a stoic face. They're all like, hey, I'm a normal guy. I'm just a nice normal guy. And there's
hold on, the Superman as a character, he's like totally absolutely normal, but like Superman as like how people look at Superman, he's like literally a god, dude.
Right, but the thing is, like,
and I think that's how he.
Sorry, go.
No, go ahead.
Okay, people should never like in movies they should never like you should be able to go up to Superman and like have a conversation with him. Have a conversation about like like having a normal human conversation. The Superman in these movies doesn't seem like he'd be up for that. In the original Joss Whedon cut of Justice League, they go up to him with the camera, like, hey, what's your favorite part of Earth? And like it's implied that he's thinking about Lois Lane, and it's like no, he was born on Earth. His favorite thing about Earth should be like nachos or like just something normal, like a normal human thing. And it's like he's too alien in these movies. He's not enough human when he was literally born on Earth. He should just be a normal kid.
All right, yeah, I understand that. I understand
Rant over. I gotta take some Advil.
All right, for me, I think my least favorite character would be Batman. I'm not saying I don't like Batman. Batman is like one of my favorite superheroes or fictional characters, and the way how they used him in this movie, it's disappointing, man. It's really disappointing. They had him say the cheesiest of lines. They had him literally do absolutely nothing other than bringing the money and bringing the team, put them together. I don't like how they did Batman dirty like that. He's very significant and he's very impactful in many ways.
Yeah, they did kind of like throw Batman under the bus a bit. I think we've talked ourselves out of this one. Hopefully we don't go on for another 3 hours and 30 minutes, but I think this is the end of this episode.
Special thanks to Nicholas Biancalin. Make sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel at The End Note, or you could follow him on Instagram at endnote_music. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at not.film.critics and on Twitter at nonfilmcritics for exclusive content and news.
See ya.